right, we're in Anime, Texas with a very special guest, a friend.
That's right.
If you say, could you please introduce yourself to the people?
Sure, my name is Adam Gibbs. You might know me as Sugawara from Haikyuu. Who do we got here? We got Shadow from Eminence in Shadow, Shinichi from Parasite. Lots of guys.
Okay. Yeah. So, man, so we've interviewed you before, which thank you for that, by the way. And I did not get to ask you, man. So let's talk about Parasite for a minute, which is one of my favorites and my wife's favorite. I have to say that. I feel like she'll jump to that camera if I don't say it. So, man, Parasite is such like a cult classic, man. What do you think makes it that way?
You know, there's obviously that kind of exciting, gory kind of aspect, and so when Halloween rolls around, you know, everybody's wants to get in on it. But I think I don't know, you get to see the journey that Shinichi goes on, and he starts out as one thing and he ends up somewhere else, and that to me is so human. That's really true to the human experience. And so you get a lot of like tender stuff between, you know, him and family and him and friends and, you know, him and Migi. I think there's, despite it being this wild show that obviously is pretty far from reality, I think it's so relatable. There's so much that you can connect to in that show.
Which I just actually found out that Migi means right hand. Didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I just found that out. So talking about Parasite, I need to watch the live action show on Netflix. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
So that's actually the second live action. Parasite the Maxim got a live action as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
That's why Parasite, I love that show so much. It was the first time I was on Adult Swim, but also it really it changed my career. So the live action dub got the rights were gotten by Crunchyroll, by a different studio, and they wanted to maintain the cast. So I got brought up to Crunchyroll, Funimation at the time, and got the opportunity to finally work with them, and that kind of exposed me to them, and, to a lot of the directors there. And so without that, who knows if I would have gotten up there. So I will be eternally grateful to Parasite. And Kyle Jones for casting me.
Okay. And speaking of your illustrious careers, we can see here, man. Do you have a moment in your career that's brought you like a good amount of joy?
I mean, honestly, anytime I get to be in the booth, it's joyous. I have so much fun recording. I mean, sure, sometimes it's a job, and sometimes it's a very grueling kind of session that rips on your voice. But I mean, it's usually the shows with heart. The ones that really like make you feel something, whether it's happy or sad or whatever. I've been recording quite a bit on Natsume's Book of Friends. We've gotten through 6 seasons of that now, and that's a show that just fills me with so much joy.
I need to watch that show, man. You always speak so highly of it.
It's a really sweet show. It's so funny, but also you get this. It's a slow burn show, but there's still a lot of action because all the wild spirits or yokai as they're known in the universe. And really, it's all about the banter between him and Master Kitty Cat, played by the incredible Chris Waycamp. So their banter back and forth is reason enough.
Okay. So we were talking earlier before we started recording, and you're talking about like you've been in shows, you do plays and things like that. So if there's any character in fiction, who would you like to have it like turn into an anime in voice? It could be anything. I don't know if we've got any fans out there, but back in the day when I was a kid, it was required reading for a lot of kids. But I loved the children's book Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Okay, I haven't heard of that.
It's a great survival story. A kid who essentially crash lands in the kind of Canadian wilderness, and all he has is his hatchet, and he has to survive. And so it's this really kind of cool, triumphant story of survival, and that was always one of my favorite books growing up as a kid. And so, as the readers who know the book know that it's a part of a bigger trilogy, and so I don't know how much dialogue we'd have. It might be a little bit of a Castaway situation.
Like grunts.
Exactly. But man, that would be the one. I've always loved his story so much. That'd be pretty cool to kind of live out.
Okay, I like that, and that can work too. There's a show on Adult Swim. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically about like a caveman and like his dinosaur, and it's kind of like that, where it's just they don't really talk. They just like act like they just do things, and it's really cool. cool. Another thing we were talking about offline is that these cons, and just like with everything that you do, like Jeremy and I were saying, like, oh, we're tired, we do so much. Like sometimes we'll just take time off for like our mental health and things like that. What are the things that you like to do just to kind of center you and like maintain your mental health?
Yeah, that's such a great question. I appreciate you asking that. Music is a really big part of my life.
Oh,
it always
okay.
has been. I went to school for musical theater, and so it's always been something I've done. I play a lot of instruments, and so the first instrument I learned was piano as a little kid, and so I've got my childhood piano in my living room now, and so my daughters can play on it. And so it's just a great escape and a way to kind of just make your own therapy, and any chance I get, I like to just kind of dabble and find the music and just find the peace.
That's really good. Yeah. Music is like that's my happy place too, man. I love music.
That's right. That and my babies.
Your babies. Oh yeah, of course.
And my daughters is just that too can be very taxing.
Yes, of course.
All the things, but it is all the things. It's so wonderful.
Yeah. And one last question before we go, man. So I know you've probably done a lot of interviews. You talk to a lot of people. What's one thing that you wish people would ask you more about?
We had it kind of, this ties into this last question, but the previous question, we had a panel yesterday where we were asked, what is something you like to do? What's an interesting thing about you that is not anime? And so I go back to music. I go back to I'm a woodworker, so I build things out of wood.
Man, you are a man of many talents.
I'm getting a little long in the tooth, so you pick up things along the way.
Of course, you're true.
But so really anything like that, anything. Of course, I always get asked about my characters and how to become a voice actor and all those kind of things. But all of us actors, there's so much more to us, than just the work that we put out. And anytime I get to talk about music or my kids, or the other kind of fun things I do outside of performing is my go-to. Yeah.
Okay. Man, Adam, thank you so much for doing this again, man. It's been a pleasure as usual.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, you got a line, you got fans here, so I'm gonna get out the way.
My pleasure. Yeah,
man. I'm Chad. This is Adam. And this is Fusion Hub. We're out.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank
you, man.
Thank you,
man. You're the best.
Appreciate you guys.
You're the best.
Yeah, best of luck to you.
Yeah, no problem.